Isn't that the same thing as real ear, like with the carrots, where it's trying to do soft, medium, and loud sounds?
But why are we doing that? It is, but why are we doing it?
Speech isn't at one intensity, like different sounds are gonna have different intensities.
There's fixed frequencies?
Because he could be in different environments.
Well, so think about it. You're right. We have those short-term fluctuations, but if we just do the long-term average speed spectrum or the RMS, we get that one curve, right? So why are we doing 3 of them? So remember, at low intensity levels, what am I going to give you? More gain. What's going to happen as the intensity increases?
Gain goes down.
It's going to go down, and what happens as I go even higher? Going to get less gain. That's what this is showing you. So if you do it at 50 dB, you'll have a lot of gain. If you do it at 65 dB, I hope I'm giving you the right numbers. 65 dB, you'll have moderate gain, and if you do it at 80 dB, you'll have even less gain. So let's look at this. So I'm going to go in here and click on Views. And of course I can't.
As you get closer to is it the MCL or the UCL?
There's nothing here. There's no MCL.
I know, but
Well, as I get to the top is UCL.
okay.
Okay? In situ means in the ear, so that means we're in the coupler. Okay? So and this is in dBHL. Let me do this in dBSPL. So you see it's a little bit different. Okay? And this is in a person's expected ear. This is in a 2cc coupler. So this is what the coupler is going to give you. So look at the difference. This is what the ear will give you on average. This is what the coupler is going to give you. So do you notice the difference? This is coupler. This is the gain. That's where that RECD comes in. So you can adjust for the difference in the coupler in the person's ear. Okay? So I'm going to leave this in SPL, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it around as a function of gain versus input. And that's what it looks like. Okay? That's what it looks like. So, and I need help here. I'm colorblind as a bat. So if this is 20 dB. Hang on, let me get rid of this guy. Red is what?
500 hertz.
500. Okay, let's figure out a better way to do basic frequencies. Let's just do 500 hertz. Okay? So now what am I looking at? What's this called?
That's an input out or
It's an input-output curve. Okay? It's an input-output curve. Now what they've got here is this thing is a backwards.
Yeah.
This is your input. This is just your gain. Let's change this to input-output. Where's input-output?
Here's output, versus input.
There, well, that's what I want to see.
Oh.
Okay? So if I look at this device, I'm at 500 hertz, okay? You'll notice it's linear up until about what, 30, let me get my little mouse here.
Like 38-ish.
The heck is it? It's about, let's call it 38, good guess, okay? Then you'll notice I have output limiting at 112. So all hearing aids, if it's AGC, you have 2 kinds of compression. You have AGC compression, and then when you get to the UCL, it automatically output limits. If you have a true AGCO, you only have the AGCO. Okay? The reason it limits it here, what happens if you go into an environment that has music? It's going to be loud. And so what they want to do is they want to cut it off before it reaches your uncomfortable level. Okay?
So is that kind of like how we do with the knee point to kick compression in like 10 dB before
Yep.
the actual? So they do the same thing. This
Yep.
is like 10 dB
Yep.
below the UCL.
Yep.
Can you talk? You said that there's 2 different kinds, and one is always like that. What did you mean by that?
Oh, so AGCI always has an input knee point, which is here,
Right.
and an output knee point, which is here.
So it's just the cutoff.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is the AGCI part, and this is the AGCO part, okay? Watch this.
Maybe.
Is it views? Oh, okay, I have to change it here, sorry. Let's go to 2K. Okay, it's exactly the same. These devices are extremely linear. Why are they so linear? Widex has the slowest
Slow.
attack time, and so what are they trying to do to the envelope?
Keep it intact.
Yeah, keep
Keep it intact. So I'm giving you a lot of compression over a very, very long period. Okay? You'll notice this doesn't start at 0. It starts up here. Okay? So that's actually, we'll talk about this, it's called expansion. So now we've got this device here. Okay? I have this funny thing here called acclimatization. So let me go back to speech. So now let's look at this. So now I can look at speech spectrum. Here is conversational speech. Here is soft speech. Here is loud speech. I'm lying to you. I got it backwards. My fault. This is unaided. Okay. This is aided down here. And so you'll notice these are the sounds that the person is. So they're hearing everything below this. So this thing down here is my dynamic range. Okay. This is my dynamic range. The sensogram is their fitting formula. Can I change that fitting formula? Let me see. If I go into fitting,
Fine tuning.
fine tuning, it will give me.
Can you not just like select them like Oticon and then up it?
Can I?
Like select down here? Like you can select these and then up it.
Oh no, but I don't want to adjust it.
You don't wanna
I
change it?
want to change my prescriptive formula.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So how do I do that? It should be under this thing called preferences. Okay. And I'm learning this software just as you're learning this software. So where is, let's click on this, help, and I'm going to search for NAL. And it's going to tell me fitting rationales are where? The rationale tool opens from the fitting window.
So this one.
Rationale. So here, where's rationale? Okay, so here. So, okay, let's leave this alone for right now. Okay, see this thing? I've got this thing that says monaural or binaural. Why do I have that in there?
From 1 hearing aid versus 2.
Yeah.
And why is that important? As it relates to gain.
Well, because the two hearing aids communicate with one another, right?
Has to do with your ears.
Your speech fit them differently.
These are independent devices. They don't talk to each other.
Localization.
Nope. You're close. Signal goes into both ears. It goes into the cochlea. It goes onto the auditory nerve. It goes to the brain.
Binaural fusion.
Binaural summation. What happens when I add two sounds together? What do I get?
Get amplification.
I get a 6 dB increase. So what am I going to do if it's monaural? I'm going to reduce the gain by, if I have binaural, what am I going to do? I'm going to reduce each gain by
6.
3 dB. 3 dB on this side, 3 dB on that side. If I have a monaural fit, I leave the 3 dB in. So if I'm just fitting one ear, I don't have to worry about it. So you'll need to look at this. Here, this is what drives me crazy, is you've got two rationales. You've got the Widex rationale, which is called sensogram, okay? They've had this thing for 30 years. I trained on it back in the 90s, 25 years. Then they've got NALNL2. We haven't talked about this yet. NALNL2 is a nonlinear prescriptive formula. It's the middle curve, the 65 dB curve, is essentially your third gain, okay? Then what they do is they do a little bit of extra math, and they don't give you these numbers, and they give you a 50 dB input, and they give you a 65 dB input, okay? The problem with this in every single manufacturer is it's not true NALNL2. Their version of it. They reduce the gain by approximately how much, if you listen to Gus?
10 or something like
10
that.
dB. If you don't do real ear, are you providing the right amount of gain? Okay, and if you're not providing the right amount of gain, what happens to neuroplasticity? Especially in children. Okay, especially in kids. So you have to do real ear, which is that thing right behind you there. Okay, so we're going to use NAL just because I don't like the Widex fitting formula. I mean, it works for them, but I'm not a huge fan. Okay?
If that's been proven with real ear, then why don't they change their rationale?
Well, the reason that they don't do the NAL, NL2 is clinicians, what did I tell you, 80% don't know what the heck they're doing. So if it's soft enough and you muck it up, can the patient tell?
No.
So what happens to the hearing aid? Does it get sold or does it get returned?
It's sold.
It's all about money.
Yeah.
Okay? It's all about money. This is where you have to come in. So when you go to NAL, NL2, notice the WIDEX thing didn't ask you anything. NAL, NL2 is going to ask you if you're a male or a female. Okay? I don't know why it has unknown. But if you're a male or a female, why? And it already knows you're an adult because it took your birth date. I had my birth date in there when I put in my audiogram. It's required. Why is it asking me male versus female?
Canal.
Your canal resonance. It's asking me experienced user versus inexperienced user. Why?
Because an inexperienced needs less.
About 5 dB less. Okay? In acclimatization, I'm going to increase this thing in increments. Each manufacturer has a different increment. Some of them do 1 dB, some of them do 3 dB, some of them do 5 dB. Okay? And then it's asking me, do I have a non-tonal language or a tonal language? Why is it asking me that?
So you can detect the differences between letters if you're like, I guess, Spanish versus English, they're just more tonal.
So tonal, so if we talk about non-tonal languages like British English, we're going to have more stops and we're going to have more of this. Tonal languages, right? Like if we take some of the Spanish, we take some of the Asian languages, right? It's more intonation based. Intonation causes rises and drops in what? Intensity. We don't want the hearing aid to kick in and out of compression. So what does it do to your compression ratio? Your compression release time. It makes it longer. Okay? So if you came in, if Taylor came in and she had a hearing aid, and I can't do anything with the hearing aid, she's really struggling, and I know I need to improve the spectrotemporal envelope. Very easily, I can just click on tonal, and I've changed what? The release time, which now makes the spectrotemporal envelope modulation deeper. It's a very, very simple thing. Okay? So, and you have to make sure you put the notes in your chart, because someone's going to come back and say, well, that's a mistake. This person speaks English. Well, I did that because I wanted to give them slow acting compression. Okay? So these are all the things, most people just go in and hit quick fit and they're done. You can't do that. You actually have to sit and spend some time on this. I'm struggling a little bit because I don't use this very often. Okay? But you'll get in here, you can set this up and very quickly change this, and then once you know the theory, it's pretty simple. Okay? So he's a male, he's an inexperienced user, like first time, and for lack of a better term, let's just say he's Hispanic. Okay? I'm stereotyping here, but just so that we can use this, I just wanted to push that button. Okay? Sensory neural hearing loss, and now it's asking me, I have an acoustic. Do I have venting or don't I have venting? Okay, and it says vent compensation is on. Or I can turn the vent compensation off. Okay, do I want venting or don't I want venting is what it says.
Yeah.
We want venting. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and go to my fitting.
That's what you're on right now.
Oh, sorry,
Fine-tuning.
overview. Do you want to change this? Yes. Look at my frequency response. It changed. It's a little more choppy now. Okay? And that's because NAL, NL2 has different values that it puts in. So that's why it's a little bit choppy. Okay?
Is it also choppy because you click tonal?
It possibly
Okay.
as well. Absolutely. Okay? I like to do it in a 2cc coupler because I like the way that I was trained. We did everything on a box. You guys may not do that. So this is just an mean preference here. Okay? So now I want to go in and I'm going to look at the spectrum. Okay, we looked at that. Here's my input-output curve. Now look what happened.
Wow.
So I've got 1 knee point, 2 knee points, 3 knee points. So this is almost curvilinear. And that's cool to me. You know why? Because here, I've got my cochlear amplifier, I'm cutting it